Aloha, I'm Representative Kymberly Pine, and welcome to our show. Well, we just finished another legislative session, and boy, was it a tough one. But what I want to focus on today is how the legislative session was successful because of community involvement, and how you as a community can continue to be involved in the different things going on around the state to make positive changes. But of course, I couldn't do this show without the incredible Representative Corinne Ching, who knows everything about community involvement, and it's why she gets elected year after year, because you have changed your community. So we had a couple of great things happen this legislative session, right? Because of the community involvement, we had the pension tax killed. Thanks to our constituents that got involved, and especially the AARP, who helped us to recognize that it's just wrong to tax someone retroactively, which you go backwards, and that the elderly don't have the ability to change their plans once they've already finished working. And so we felt that that was a cruel tax.
So true, so true. And I want to say that you're the community person too. I think we have that in common, our outlook and realizing that we serve our community. You know, you're so right. I always felt that the pension tax that came up this year was changing the rules afterwards and just on principle wrong. A number of our people, they had planned their lives ahead of time. They're maybe not at the stage where they feel they want to enter the job market again and be able to change that. They're not at the practical stage of it. So to take that income away from them to tax them was just, as Barbara Maramoto also put it, cruel. So especially that first version. So we're really, that's a win. And we have to remember that there were some wins this session. There definitely were wins.
The other win was killing the increase in the general excise tax. And of course, us as Republicans, we are very against the excise tax increase because it's so regressive. Especially in your and my community, we have a very large lower income community that we love and care about, and we fight for every time that we come here. And so we put the call out to our constituents, and they came here and forced this legislative session. So that was another win.
Absolutely,
as well.
Because you and I both know at some points of the session, particularly in the beginning, it seemed like a foregone conclusion that this just had to happen. The GET was going to be raised, and as you mentioned, so regressive to the small businesses too that are employing our people at this time when you know our recession it's hit, and we want to preserve those jobs that we have. Hits everybody. Hits the consumer. Not going to spend as much, and so you're right. I was so glad to see the GET not pass this time, because that was going to be definitely destructive.
And you were very successful of getting agriculture together in terms of getting support for a very important bill in the cacao industry. Why don't you explain that a little bit to us?
Thank you, Kim. Thank you so much. Well, you're so right. I mean, there's the defense. It's almost like playing some of our sports, right? There's defense and then there's offense. And on the defense side, we want to preserve what we have in our jobs. But I've always felt that on the looking forward towards the future and all our priorities, that if we want green and open space, we cannot continue to heavily have to subsidize industries because our revenues we don't have that sort of money. We need to look towards what does Hawaii have that is unique, that Hawaii is uniquely suited for. And we came across this years ago that, and I didn't know this, but I was taught this, that Hawaii, one of the crops that was unique and could be grown in Hawaii was cacao. And cacao is a little bit of a picky plant in that it needs to be grown X amount of degrees from the equator. It needs to have a certain kind of sun. It actually needs to have these little insects called midges. And it thrives in a certain kind of temperature. Sure enough, like coffee, which has had success, Kona coffee, we were uniquely suited for it. And not only do we grow it well, and it grows quickly in Hawaii's climate, but it grows a uniquely excellent pod, a cacao pod. This is the industry, of course, we're talking about chocolate. Chocolate comes from the cacao pod. Chocolate is a huge product that's sold on the stock exchange. We know about, you know, it's actually good for you when it's dark. I will make that disclaimer. We're not talking about all milk chocolate or that sort of thing. We're talking specifically about dark chocolate. But our lava rock, I've been told that it's the soil that is creating this incredibly great taste. So Waialua, in our colleagues' district, Representative Gail Revere, in Waialua, they have now an award-winning chocolate. And I won't say that this industry has been not without its fits and starts. Like most industries, or like a toddler, it falls before it walks. But now it looks like it's definitely walking and hopefully running, because the legislation that we passed, some years ago we passed some other legislation too to acknowledge the economic benefit and health benefits of cacao. But we've passed legislation to say, let's have a month where we acknowledge it, so we can go out to the community, the private sector, and say, go for it. Here, promote your product, raise the awareness. And February 2011, now 2012, is designated Hawaiian Grown Cacao Month. But in terms of APEC around the corner in November, at least out of the House, we did pass the resolution to say that let's acknowledge and showcase at this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in November those products that reflect the excellence of Hawaii, and of course chocolate's one of them. And why it is because it's not only good tasting, but it shares with other ag products excellence, because all those little chocolates you can have inside can be your ka'u orange, your papaya, your mango, your pineapple, everyone else.
So you're hoping to be as successful as Kona Coffee
Absolutely.
is nationwide. And they started small too. No one believed that they could grow coffee in Hawaii. Because a long time ago, as you know, everyone just thought of pineapples and sugarcane, and they would laugh at the thought of people in Hawaii selling or raising coffee. And so, of course, now Kona Coffee is considered one of the best coffees in the world. And so, thanks to you, I'm sure Hawaii chocolate will get there one day.
Thank you.
So that was a great community success that a lot of people came to lobby for. The last show that we had, we talked about the Hawaiian electric power outage and the tsunami.
Oh my goodness.
And so what that brought attention to us, and so we had a whole show about getting prepared for natural disasters. What we heard from our community through their community involvement is that we don't know what to do. And even though there is a lot of information out there, we had to have a meeting so that we as a community in Ewa Beach could actually discuss how the blackout happened, what we need to do to be disaster ready. And so in our last show, it was very informative. We had 2 leaders in the industry of emergency preparedness come and spoke about what we need to do to get together. And so the town hall was a huge success. We had over 500 people at this town hall meeting, according to the principal. And so now we, because of the community involvement that we've promoted, there's different leaders in our community that are willing to be involved and to get part of the process.
Yeah, you've coordinated so much of that, and I have to tell you, Rep. Pine, I am so proud of you, because, you know, when this blackout happened, I know it was your district, you know, that really got so affected because you didn't get your electricity back, and you coordinated all the people and contacted the proper authorities and pushed for your people. You're always pushing for your people, you know, and making sure they're taken care of, and they're not the lowest priority, they're the top priority.
And they certainly felt that when we got the electricity back on. We were told from workers privately, because they couldn't publicly discuss that, they were talking to us. They said, Representative, with the workers walking off and with the disaster as it was so devastating, where poles completely shut down roads, they said they didn't expect the electricity to get back up for another 3 weeks. And this is devastating for my community, because like yours, I'm sure, we have the highest number of foster homes for our elderly that need electricity to be on machines that keep them alive. Highest number of foster homes for children, many special needs children. And so it really was the community supporting my voice that week, and it put the pressure on the leaders to give us all the resources we needed. And that was just another example of community involvement. And that's why we want to promote during the show the importance of the community getting involved.
So true.
Because they are more powerful than you and I are, actually.
Absolutely. You're so right. You're so right. I mean, and when they move, maybe they're not always aware, but their voice does matter. And when they are organized, and that's what your office did, help organize them, make sure that their voice is heard, they can move mountains, as you say, you know. But I'm so glad they have you, and you organize it. I mean, I remember when the power outage was, and I thought, oh my goodness, you know, and there you were on the front lines making sure that happened. I always inspired.
It was a community that got me moving. Other things we're trying to encourage during this time that we're not in session is you and I, we really promote our constituents to get involved, cleaning up the community, changing the image of the community, helping each other, just to be proud of where they live. And so I want to talk about some of the things that we've done together to improve our community, because I know when you got elected, you had this vision many years ago that you wanted Liha to be restored to its original beauty. And then for me in Eva Beach, we just wanted a plan.
That's right. It's newer.
They put together a community. They sold incredible amounts of homes and didn't give us the roads.
Infrastructure.
With the worst traffic in the state of Hawaii. Just getting to the freeway was 45 minutes, and that was just for 6 miles for me to travel. And then another 45 on the freeway.
That's right, and I've witnessed that going out there.
And so that was kind of our goal, is to get the community involved when they took out the money for the highways. And this is Fort River Road that we were able to widen, that we're showing on the screen here. And it was amazing how adding just an extra lane on a Fort River Road was possible. We had another road that the community helped me to lobby for, and that was the North-South Road. And that is another road that is just massive. And so, and this is another photo of it, and they had taken this road out of the budget for over 20 years. And when I got elected my first year as a freshman, I told the community, look, I'm only as powerful as you are. And we're a sleepy Eva Beach plantation town. You know, we just
not
let
used
other
to
people
being
do things.
too rabble-rouser.
And so when the leaders again, for the next time in an order of 20 years in a row, took out money for this road, I called the community and I said, it's time for you to get to work. And so because of them, that road is done today.
And they believe in themselves, and you've helped them believe that it can be done. And as you say, it's so critical, because you talk about the fatalities. You know, I think it's in the newspaper today how there's so many fatalities in Hawaii. I mean, we're really up there in terms of it. Not something to be so, you know, happy nor proud about is the tragedies on our roadways. But in your area, you're right, that's a priority, and you've been fighting for that, defending and making progress on it. That's what I love. I love that I've watched over the years you getting the funding for making sure it happens, and by golly, there it is. The product is there. So
tell me about Liha. This was a long process where you fixed up old buildings, you convinced owners of buildings, okay, you need to help me to make this place beautiful. Tell me about the project, and then I want to talk about your APEC project. That's huge.
Thank you so much. Well, you know, I do love Liliha. We even have an I Love Liliha Town Festival and a booklet. But what I found years ago, Kim, was that we were sitting on a really unique history of the entire state of Hawaii. I hadn't known this growing up, so I'm not going to pretend that I knew all this ahead of time. I didn't. I was educated in this. And I found out that there was all of this local culture just embedded right there in Liliha, sleepy Liliha, like Eva Beach. And it's sort of been, I think, taken for granted to some extent. But more importantly, Kim, and that's why you and I share this, it was not only taken for granted, but the businesses were going out of business. And you know, as Republicans, we support small business for a number of reasons. One of the reasons I do support is because in some cases, small business is actually your culture. It's sort of a lab or a preservation of our culture, and I'm talking about...
It's a gathering places for our community as
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a gathering place. People take care of John's store, and our Pu'uloa is that way. They've taken care of generations of my people, children. But in other cases too, you have Masu's Massive Plate Lunch was a gathering place, and then these
Was this a before and after? What place was this?
This is Lum Brothers. That's been there for quite some time. High profile area. It's an automotive repair shop by Liliha, Brian and Alan, and they're fantastic. They print out other people's graffiti. They're just basically the symbol.
How did you get them
Liliha.
to start doing this, or did they just get inspired by what you were already doing?
Absolutely. Well, we did this along with Hawaii Architectural Foundation. Our thoughts were, if you bring in professionals, we're not just painting out graffiti in terms of graffitis you paint it out. What we want to do is we want to make it artistic, where no one wants to ruin it, and that the community now sees it as part of theirs, private sector. And so we put the plants on. That's my daughter, and also Jen, as you can see, multicultural. And so we put the bench there, and guess what? It's still there. It's never been stolen.
Wow.
Now going on how long? And we said we're going to make it a community-friendly, walkable, livable neighborhood, because this is a 1920s, 30s type of building that beckons back to the days before statehood, in fact. I want to evoke that wholesome, good feeling of the old days and the old values of when people were kind to each other, decent, honest. They'd never dream of hurting each other, and taking care of the children and the people. And some of the businesses
you've done other businesses as well.
Absolutely. That's Mama's Korean barbecue, and it's next door to Creations by You. That's been very successful, teaching the kids arts and crafts. Mama's, we put in a little cafe umbrella so people would come out and be the eyes and ears of the community. That's your inborn neighborhood security watch. But it was all in response to some of the local businesses, Simon Mochi, going down, and we couldn't wait. We
was
we
crime
wanted
up
to
at that
save
time
them.
too? Because
Absolutely,
of that?
You're right.
Do you think crime has gone down?
It
like I was thinking
actually
of, no one
has,
stole that bench, but I bet you before they would
They
have.
would have. You got
It
it.
didn't look good, but now they're like, wow.
Yes, the
I
broken
kinda
window
like the look
theory.
of our community, and I don't want to destroy it.
I don't want to hurt it. I love it, and they sit on the bench, and I love to see my people sitting on that bench. But you're so right. See, the cleanliness, the revitalization is a direct antidote to crime. You're right, and because why? People have pride in their community. They come out, they feel safer about walking around. And what is a neighborhood security watch but people eyes of the community walking around, being aware, saying, hey, look, I'm here and I'm watching.
Did you paint a building pink too or something?
Yeah, I did. The Henry Ho building. We did. It was pink in, I'm wearing Henry Ho pink. In 1956, Henry Ho and his wife, there it is. It was
different
pink.
That is. I love it.
That's right. That's right.
You know, they say pink reduces crime, right? That's why this one prison dresses their prisoners in pink, and they found that crime went down within the prison.
It is a happy color.
So it was pink, and you want to bring it back to that time.
And we didn't want to, see, that's a key point of our revitalization. We want to keep the authenticity, want to keep the charm and the local values. We just want to present our best foot, put our best foot forward, and that's it.
And this goes in with your Vitality project, right?
That's
so tell me about that, because we're kind of doing like something like that in Eva Beach. We're calling it Get Healthy Eva Beach.
Yes.
It's my goal to get back in shape like I was 2 years ago.
You and I both will go work out together, and I'm trying to jog
and so
and
it all
walk
kind of
more.
goes together. And this is what we did in Eva Beach too. When I first was elected, we had over 300 people living in the bushes
homeless, right.
at Pu'uloa Beach Park. And I got a bunch of community leaders together who had the same dream as I, including the high school principal who was my former high school teacher. And I said, the first thing we want to do to improve Eva Beach, like what you did in Lily Hill, was clean it up.
Yeah.
Our first beach cleanup at this beautiful, gorgeous beach that you can see Diamond Head from. It is the most beautiful place in Hawaii to watch the sunrise. We collected 20 abandoned cars. There were between 30 and 40 abandoned refrigerators and washing machines. This is on a beautiful beach. We got all the families that were homeless into shelters, and now the kids are getting educated. They're getting warm showers and warm meals. And so I'm really excited to see that what we're trying to do, it is changing our communities. All of the students' test scores are up. Crime is down as well. And it is the most beautiful beach at Pu'uloa Beach Park now. So tell me about the APEC conference, because it all kind of goes together. You wouldn't be able to get an APEC tour without all these improvements, correct? So tell me what's going on there.
Yeah, we are cleaning up. You saw some of the examples, but with APEC...
what is APEC, first of all?
Well, APEC, you know, with some of the newspapers have been talking about it, is the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperative, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime, really, I think, experience for Hawaii, in that the top-notch Fortune 500 people are going to be here. As we know, President Obama, other leaders of countries,
21
the
heads
leaders,
of states
21
total.
heads
That's
of
a
states,
lot.
all descending on Hawaii the week of November 8th through 13th, and with that, tons of media and their families. So a lot of people bringing their families. Well, you know, they are going to have high-level meetings that even I think you and I won't be invited to. No one's. They're just having that tete-a-tete type of conversations. But there are going to be opportunities for some of the officials to come out into the community, and they want to see the multicultural beauty of Hawaii. They want to see what are the possible business ventures they can invest in. What we've put together is a special tour, an open house of our Ahupua Nu'uanu Liliha, to be able to show the multicultural history of Hawaii, the Queen Emma Summer Palace, the Pali Lookout, Battle of Nu'uanu, etc. And we need a cleanup. It's kind of like having guests over for dinner. You want to clean up and be ready before they arrive. So the tour is going to be exciting. We hope to have maybe lunch at Natsunoya Tea House and really experience Hawaii's melting pot, sort of what one journalist called the Ellis Island of Hawaii. This does dovetail in with the Liliha Vitality Project, because we want the stream of income of prosperity, along with, as you say, the healthy initiatives, the farmers markets, the community gardens, for our residents. But we recognize as Republicans how prosperity is key and integrated into physical and emotional health, the wellness. So we'll culminate this tour with the town festival. We're going to push it back to November. It's usually in August. And have a big party where they can walk around and maybe come back even for some more select tours. But basically an open house showcasing of our neighborhood, revealing the multicultural history, and it's good for residents as well as the APEC.
And you're the only legislator that was able to do this. So I have to just once again show
with great
how
help,
impressed
let me tell you,
I was
friends and
for you.
staff and
So you're going to get the
angels.
community together and say, okay, this is the final closing of our project, of our Vitality Project and improving the community project. And so when well, at least to motivate them even more. So this is where you can convince your community you can really shine.
You bet.
And so we're gonna, let us know what we can do in Ever Beach to come and support Liliha. We're so proud of what you folks have done over there. And so how, in closing, how do you think, like you have a single mother out there and feels like she's just running from one appointment to the other. Should someone like that still be involved in their community?
Oh, that's such an excellent question. Absolutely. We do put our children first, but interestingly enough, my daughter loves to see the things I do and wants to get involved. So we're instilling in the next generation by being a model of that, or doing it. Do what I say, not what I do, or do what I do is more, not just what I say. And that's the philosophy. I think when children see that mom puts the community as a priority, mom takes time, they also recognize that the community matters, and you're raising responsible kids, and that in itself is the greatest contribution a mom can make.
One of the things I'll be focusing on is encouraging people to get involved in maybe the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts, because they promote good citizens. That's what my focus for this next term is, to promote good citizenship and community involvement. So I encourage families to get involved in the beach cleanups that either the churches do or the local clubs do. I have to say that some of the most fun I've ever had was with when my family and I went to either go to help feed people at the homeless shelters, or when we went to clean up our parts in Eva Beach when I first started. And I love that you take your daughter around with you everywhere, because she's like a little mini you, and she is working all the time. She's probably the busiest kid out there, but it's promoting the understanding of how people getting involved in their community is so important. And just going home and watching TV and then going to bed and starting all over again is not as fulfilling. is helping a community.
It's a sense of accomplishment, you're right. And actually that is part of even being healthy, is the Vitality Projects, you know, they talk about a sense of purpose and that how that raises the good feelings you have, which then make you a healthier person. Even they can even talk about it chemically. I mean, it just really all comes together, working together to make someplace better. Makes you feel good, you're contributing, you're being a good person, and that in turn just, it becomes contagious. I think so.
So our goal is for kids like you see here to get more involved.
Absolutely.
So parents and grandparents and aunties and uncles out there, your job this next summer is to put together a family plan to see what you can do to get our youth more involved and even our kupuna more involved as families coming together to help our community. And so I challenge you to find something in your community that you feel needs to be improved. And then go to either your local church or your local club or local school campus and see if you can get more volunteers involved. Like you do cleanup sometime, and so you would contact business owners as well as principals or different leaders in the community, correct?
Yeah, oh yes, we do. And we're grateful. And the Eagle Scouts, as you say, I mean, the Eagle Scouts have been instrumental in our district in doing so much. Our Kavananakoa Park, they help with Ma'e, but we are so grateful. And I hope and I believe, like you, that they do derive something from it themselves. And that's what it's all about, you know, taking responsibility for our community. It's our community, not someone else's community. So I commend you and what you've been doing, and I'm so grateful because you inspire me. You're always doing something special, something new, and it's always so well organized. And you know, that's the way we can make progress and attack these things that are so unnecessary, like diabetes, you know, preventable. It's actually preventable most.
I want to thank you for coming to my show and telling us all the great things that you've done. Mahalo
thank
so
you
much.
so much.
And I want to thank all of you out there for joining us today. And while the legislative session is over, our work is not done, and we don't want your work to be done either. So please get involved in your community and help Hawaii be better. Mahalo and aloha. I'm Kymberly Pine.